Ok, clase. Hoy es viernes, el 8 de marzo, y vamos a tomar apuntes en esta hoja que tiene el título ¿Cómo celebro los días festivos? Or How I Celebrate the Holidays. Now this sheet is really about grammar, and it's a follow-up to this graphic organizer that we did in class together yesterday. This one that has the title in this orange circle, Acciones de los Días Festivos. With this sheet, we were just reorganizing the vocabulary from the vocabulary list and maybe even adding in some other expressions that we learned in previous chapters or maybe even in Spanish 1 that help us talk about how we celebrate. Remembering that in this chapter, we're learning to talk about holidays in the present, the past, and the future. Now, you already have the skills to do those things, and that's what we're going to use this sheet to do. We're going to remember how to do those things, and we're going to take some notes on this sheet, and then we're going to write some example sentences in these long boxes, these long rectangles that are on the right-hand side. So I want you to turn to your partner and tell him or her what you think, what grammar you think we're going to use to talk about holidays in the future, holidays in the present, and holidays in the past. Quickly review that with your partner. Now we're going to get started. Okay, so I heard some really great things out there. You've got the right ideas, but let's get them organized and let's write some things down on this paper. Now, just as added reinforcement, if you do a good job with this paper and you've done a good job with that other graphic organizer with the, it looks kind of like a flower, you're going to have a much easier time doing tonight's homework, and I'll explain that when we're done with this part of it. All right, so because I'm cool, I want to start with the present holidays. If we're going to talk about the way we celebrate holidays all the time, we need to talk about them in the present, right? For example, if I say, my family celebrates Christmas at my house, that means every year. When we do that all the time, that's going to be a present action. So what do we need? What grammar do we need in order to talk about present holidays? Boys, if we had crickets in here, you'd hear them because you guys all got super quiet. So what grammar do we need in order to express what we do to celebrate holidays in the present? Clase? You can be loud. It's okay. It's okay if these people who watch the video can hear you. So what do we need? The present tense, right? So we're just going to take those verbs from the other graphic organizer, this graphic organizer. We're going to take these verbs in the yellow clouds, and we're just going to conjugate them in the regular present tense to talk about the way we always celebrate holidays. So on the gray graphic organizer, the newest one, in that box where it says presentes, write yourself a note that says use the regular present tense. Okay? Use the regular present tense. In just a few minutes, I'm going to give you a chance. I'll do it. Let's do it right now. Let's take time right now. So with your seat partner or somebody who's near you, generate 4 examples, that means write 4 sentences in Spanish that will talk about how you celebrate holidays. Things you do to celebrate holidays. Go. I'm going to give you a couple minutes to write some sentences and come around and check and see how you're doing. Now up here, we're writing those examples. Okay? Okay, the only problem here is, mi familia is not me. Mi familia is an it. They say my family, it celebrates. So you guys are gonna say it. Okay? I understand that you make up for your family, but the subject isn't.
Yeah.
When we do that. Okay? Oh, nothing yet? Come on. Come on, Wayne. Get with my program, Wayne. Okay, we're not going to do the EROC method. We're just going to take this and conjugate it into present tense. Okay? Okay, we're writing some sentences out here in those gray rectangles that use the regular present tense. Are you going to put infinitives here? Are you going to put infinitives here?
No.
In the gray box before it, the square, we said we were going to use the regular present tense, right? So we're not going to put infinitives here. We're going to, what are we going to do to the verbs? Conjugate them. So we can't write celebrar. We can't write mandar. We cannot write festejar. We cannot write abrir or ver. We have to conjugate. So that means we have to specify a subject. Good. Very nice. We have to specify a subject and then write a sentence. Nice. Okay. Yeah, that one's not going to work, that first one. Nice. Okay. Yes, ma'am. What do you do? Well, I think from our book campus we have watch fireworks, right?
Yeah, but I don't know how to do it.
And the regular your form is Bayo, no. And then the rest of the forms are regular. Bayo, right. Hey, I just had a question about the verb bear, V-E-R, to watch or to see. Bear is regular in the present tense except for the yo form. In the yo form, it's V-E-O, Bayo, Bayo. But the rest of them are regular, base, bemos, base, ben, when we're conjugating the present tense. Now, I walked around and I saw some really great sentences there. And so let's have, Caleb, can you give me one of your sentences, please? I'm helping you wake up here, friend. Veo televisión. I watch television. Boy, you're a party animal, celebrate holidays. Woo! Okay. Veo partidos de fútbol americano. I would say that on Thanksgiving, because we all gather around the TV to watch football on Thanksgiving, you know? That makes more sense to me. Okay? Jen, can you give me one of your sentences? Vemos fuegos artificiales. They happen to use the same verb. Let's, Gab, give me one with a different verb.
Mando unas tarjetas.
Mando unas tarjetas. I send some cards. Okay? We get it, right? All right, now let's change boxes. If you didn't write all four, that's okay. Just don't worry about it right now. Go with me mentally to the pasados. Okay, we're going to talk about past holidays now. In our square that says pasados, what note do we need to write to ourselves to remind ourselves what grammar we're going to use to talk about past holidays? Now, when I say past holidays, I'm saying Valentine's Day. That was the last one we just celebrated, right? Yeah. New Year's Day, New Year's Day 2019, New Year's Eve 2018, Christmas Day 2018, Christmas Eve 2018, Thanksgiving 2018. You're with me, right? Yeah. My birthday 2018. That was in August, okay? So we're talking about the last occurrence of a particular holiday. We're not going to use St. Patty's Day because that's coming up here real soon. We're going to talk about that one in a minute. But when we talk about the past, we're talking about the past, the last occurrence of that holiday. What grammar are we going to use? Clase? The preterite tense. Now you've only learned the preterite of regular AR verbs. We haven't learned the preterite of regular ER-IR verbs yet. Okay? But on our list, we have ear, which you did learn the preterite of. You don't have it here, but you have it on your list, hacer, which you learned the preterite of, right? Hacer una fiesta. Okay? You cannot use abrir and ver and reunirse con yet because we haven't learned the preterite of ER and IR verbs. But remind yourself that here you're going to use the preterite tense. So now write 4 sentences. Avoid abrir, reunirse, and ver, because you haven't learned them yet. And write 4 sentences that say how you celebrated the most recent occurrence of a particular holiday. Go. Get some examples down. You only have a minute because we've got to move on in just a second. Yes, perfect. Or you could even say para celebrar la Navidad, right?
Yeah, but if you're saying a holiday,
Right.
you have to put the L or
Yeah, we sure do. Good question. So I just read one that was, mandé unas tarjetas para la Navidad. I sent some cards for Christmas. Okay? Does somebody else have a different sentence they want to share? Billy? Celebré con mi familia. Nice. Paris?
Para el Día de los Enamorados, mis padres mandaron unas tarjetas.
Para el Día de los Enamorados, mis padres mandaron unas tarjetas. Nice.
Fui a la casa de mis abuelos.
Fui a la casa de mis abuelos. There's ear in the preterite that we learned last lesson. Okay, so there's some good examples. Now let's talk about the future box, the one at the top. Earlier in the hour when we were doing activity 2, we used one of the structures that we can use to talk about holidays in the future. It's called the immediate future. You learned this in Spanish 1. What's the formula for action in the immediate future? You're all looking at me like I'm nuts. We just did it in activity 2 in the warm-up.
Oh, the thingamabobber.
Ear. Ear followed by a.
Ear.
Right, a form of ear plus a plus an infinitive says what someone is going to do. So in that square or near that square, because this is kind of big, write ear plus a plus an infinitive. That's one way to express action for future holidays. There's another one in this lesson. We saw an example of it on our vocabulary list yesterday when we were talking about vocabulary. And it is a form of pensar plus an infinitive. Now notice that there's nothing between the conjugated form of pensar plus the infinitive. This first one, the immediate future, ir a plus an infinitive equals going to. Going to. do something. That's our plans for the future. Pensar plus an infinitive is plan or plans to do something. Like I plan to go to my grandpa's house or something like that. Now, here's what I have to remember about pensar. Pensar is an E to IE changer in the present tense. Thank you for remembering that. So the yo form is pienso. And the to form is piensas. L.A. usted? Piensa. Nosotros? No, it doesn't change in the nosotros form. Pensamos. Pensáis. And piensan. And we will use one of those two formulas or both of those formulas, so we're going to alternate between them, to talk about how we're going to celebrate future holidays. And then you've got some space over to the right to write some model sentences for yourself. Now, we're really running short of time, so I want to talk about the homework. Would you open your textbook now to page 313, activity 5. Abran el libro, por favor, a la página 313, a la actividad 5, por favor. Now, for activity 5, on page 313, it says, mi día festivo preferido. What does that phrase, mi día festivo preferido, mean? My favorite holiday. Even though it looks like preferred, it means favorite. My favorite holiday. Okay? Here are the instructions. Escribe un pequeño párrafo sobre tu día festivo preferido. Explica cómo y con quiénes celebras el día. Tell your partner what you're supposed to do. Go. Okay, so let me make sure you understand. It says write a little paragraph about your favorite holiday. Explain how and with whom you celebrate the day. All right, now you need to write this on a separate sheet of paper to turn in, because I'm going to read every word that every student writes. So write this on a separate sheet of paper to turn in. You may word process and submit through Google Classroom. Those of you who write with hieroglyphics, in other words, whose penmanship I cannot read,
Sorry.
do it electronically and submit it to Google Classroom. You understand?
Yes.
I want to know. Now, remember that a good paragraph has a topic sentence, details, and a conclusion. Best topic sentence. My favorite holiday is. Name it. And then you list the activities that you do. And then you can reverse that first sentence and say blank is my favorite holiday. Okay, are you with me? Do great work. Having both graphic organizers and your vocab list available will be super useful when you write this paragraph. This shouldn't take too long. I just gave you all the tools you need. It's like me getting out all the ingredients and the recipe and saying, okay, bake brownies. Right? I've done all the prep work for you. You just execute. Okay? Obviously, I got food on the brain. Okay, I want some brownies. All right. Are we good?
Yes.
Questions? Is the task clear?
Yes.
Okay. Band members, I will see you in a couple minutes.
Okay.
Oh, boy.
They'll be waiting.
Don't be naughty. If somebody's naughty, it's going to be all over for y'all.
Dylan.